Okay, I like weird fairy tales. That's the whole point of my channel here. But sometimes you all request one of me and it still manages to blow my fucking mind. Today's isn't as outright shocking as something like the juniper tree or what have you, but its weirdness sneaks up on you. Jess asked me for a Swedish fairy tale written in 1913 called The Tale of Skutt the Moose and Princess Tuvstarr, and this is how it goes.
Fucked up fairy tales with Liz.
Ding! Have you ever seen a large black lake in the middle of the forest? If you have, you've noticed how the tall trees bend toward it, wondering what's in its depths. You may have seen the white cotton grass growing around it, or the majestic moose that frequents this part of the forest. Anyway, enough about the lake for now. Let's go to the Dream Castle. The Dream Castle is not a Mattel product, but a kingdom ruled by a couple with a small daughter who I think is supposed to be a child, but honestly, I am not sure. I'm never sure in classic fairy tales. Like, they'll say she's a child, but then she does, like, grown-up things. So is she a lady being infantilized, or is she a child being leered at, or is she simply a child and there's, like, nothing weird about it? And I have just been burned too many times. Anyway, Princess Tuvstarr was petite in all manners of the term. She had pale skin and long golden hair and a gown that is practically see-through, so I mean, there you go! Moving on, she loved to frequent the meadow by the castle during the summertime, for she longed for independence and freedom. One summer, a majestic moose trot past the castle.
Who are you?
I'm Skutt. What's your name?
I'm Princess Tuvstarr. You can tell I'm a princess by my golden crown, by my see-through dress, and by the golden heart my mother gave me.
You are gorgeous!
And you're so big! You wear a crown too. Why don't you take me for a ride and show me the world?
I don't really think that's a good idea. The world is big and scary and terrible.
That's just why I should see it. Then I can share my goodness with everyone.
But you're so tiny.
You're big enough to defend us both.
Moose shook his head, and his eyes were full of fire. And the princess took that to mean, all right, let's do this, for some reason. So she mounted the moose, who told her to hold on to his antlers. They took off into the woods towards Forest Moss, the moose's home. Along the way, they stopped for a supper of berries before taking off again. Ooh, we need to move along before it gets dark.
Who is that dancing over there?
Ugh, those are the elves. I know they look cute, but trust me, they are nothing but trouble. Hold on to my antlers with both hands and ignore them. The princess did her best to follow the moose's advice, but the elves were intent on messing with her. They tugged at her gown and whatever else they could get their hands on, setting her off balance. Who are you? Who are you? Skutt was running, and Tuvstarr was rocking and a-rolling and realized that her crown was slipping off. She threw a hand atop of her head to set it back, but in letting one hand off Skutt's antlers, his protection over her slipped. The elves snatched her crown and ran off, cackling like a bunch of middle school boys who just grabbed your purse and are tossing it around while you're praying your tampons don't fall out in the middle of school.
Not my crown!
Stop whining. You only have yourself to blame.
Well, that's kind of harsh.
You're lucky it was just your crown.
I cannot imagine anything worse happening to me.
Nothing? Calm down.
I'm a child.
Are you, though? That's a great question, Moose, and maybe I should research it. Let's see, let's consult some text. The illustrator used his wife as the model for Princess Tuvstarr. Well, that didn't help at all. The two continued riding to a small island in the middle of the marsh where Skutt made his home. The princess slept in commando, and the next morning she stretched to just put it all out there and told the moose,
Today I'm gonna ride bareback.
You already are riding bareback.
I mean my bareback.
What? Okay, so the princess decided she would ride in flagrante delicto. Look, lawyer people, I know that's not what that means. I know that's not what flagrante delicto means, but it is what it should mean. It sounds like it means naked. Anyway, the princess decided to carry her dress and ride naked, but she was already wearing a see-through dress, so I guess it's actually not that much different. And maybe I shouldn't judge. I guess I'm just confused because if she is a kid, then sure, this whole thing is just an innocent plot point. I think I can also see where this tale is symbolic, like there's going to be a loss of innocence later on, and yet. The moose took Tuvstarr deeper into the woods where it was starting to get a little creepy. Lots of hanging moss, brushing her naked ass as they rode through, and slimy rocks and vines and shit.
I think I just saw a pair of pale white arms waving at me from under a curtain of green hair.
Oh yeah, that's the witch of the woods. If she asks you a question, answer her politely, but do not ask her any questions. And for the love of God, hold on to my antlers with both hands.
Okay,
Hello, dearie. What's your name?
I'm Princess Tuvstarr.
And what do you have draped over your lap?
My see-through dress.
Oh, may I see it closer?
Of course!
When the princess let go of the moose with one hand to show off her dress better, the witch suddenly grabbed the dress and she took off with it.
Not my see-through dress!
What the hell are you doing? I told you to keep a hold of my antlers with both hands.
But you also told me to address the witch politely, and wouldn't it have been impolite to refuse her request to see my dress?
Oh, definitely.
So I showed her my dress.
But you let go of my antlers.
How else could I show her my dress? My dress! Oh!
Consider yourself lucky. If you had let go with both hands, she would have lured you away.
That night, the princess slept under a tree. When she woke up, the moose was gone. He came back, wet and weird and looking like he'd been through hell. This time, when he and the princess set off, he tore through the forest at an intense speed.
Where are we going?
Deep in the forest, there's a pool. I've never brought a human there before.
Should I find that mysterious or threatening?
They finally arrived at the dark lake I teased at the top of this fairy tale. The moose let Tuvstarr down with a warning.
Be careful by the water. There's danger in its depths.
Then why do you hang out here and bring people who are possibly children, moose?
What a mysterious lake. I wonder if I can see down to the bottom.
The princess hung her head over the lake, and her golden heart necklace, the one her mother gave her, slipped off her neck and into the water.
My heart of gold! Oh, what should I do?
We should leave.
You go. I need to find my heart.
The princess stared and stared and stared into the lake. Her heart necklace did not reappear, but she did become fixated on the depths of the water. The moose came over and nuzzled her, but she waved him off and eventually gave him no heed at all. And so he left her. Well, it's been many years since that day, and the princess sits there still. Only she's not a princess anymore, but a plant. She turned into that white cotton grass by the lake, don't you know? And her head bobs over the dark water to this very day. Yeah, I don't know. I give up. I don't know if I can do it anymore.
Fucked up fairy tales with Liz.
Ding!